Quiero hablar del ausente, del repudio en los actos, de sueños que se rompen, de los golpes más bajos. Que le digo a mis hijos cuando quieran saber de una isla perdida entre el mar y la fe? Y cuando me interroguen por Maceo y Margí, por Bebo, por Reinaldo, Celia Cruz y por G, o lo haces tú o lo hago yo. Quiero saber cuál de los dos, o lo haces tú o lo hago yo. Quiero saber cuál de los dos. La noche no se acaba, queda un viejo rumor, muchos niños ahogados en el remorgador. Hay mujeres de blanco que no pueden rezar a sus muertos sublimes, a su Dios que es la paz. Alexander Osman y el Chacalo llegó, la libertad es un canto que a todos convocó. Pospongamos el sexo, la risa, el alcohol, el grito que te nombra es urgente, es clamor. O lo haces tú, o lo hago yo. Quiero saber cuál de los dos, o lo haces tú, o lo hago yo. Quiero saber cuál de los dos, o lo haces tú, o lo hago yo. Quiero saber cuál de los dos, o lo haces tú o lo hago yo. Quiero saber cuál de los dos. O tú o yo.
Que la esperanza resentida, que la oración que busca el verbo, con tormentas y sus riesgos, entre cielo, tierra y mar.
¿Dónde está Cuba? ¡Ahí!
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, good evening, everybody.
Welcome to another edition of Let's Talk About Cuba. My beautiful co-host, Iskra,
Oh,
and
thank
your
you.
humble host, Riquet Caballero, or Cuban Libertarian. And happy Martin Luther King Day, everyone.
Yes, happy Martin Luther King Day, everybody.
For those of you that are not in the United States, today is a federal holiday. So today the post office is not open, the government offices are not open. Most companies give this holiday to their employees. They don't have to. So for example, the supermarkets will open. It depends where you work. Obviously, hospitals have to stay open. But today is indeed a federal holiday here in America.
Mhm.
And that is because Martin Luther King, as most of you probably know, was a civil rights leader back in the 60s that was instrumental in getting some legislation passed that helped minorities especially the black minority here in America. Well, first, end segregation and have easier times when it came to voting, when it came to employment, education, etc. And it's just ending a lot of the systemic discrimination that was in place.
Yeah.
If you've probably seen it, if you're from Cuba, hi, Saimed. Thank you for joining us. Lolo, thank you. Jose Views, like always. Thank you for being here. Yamile, hola. As you've probably seen, if you're from Cuba, I know that my mom told me about it. Is back in the 60s in Cuba, they showed you the images of the dogs, the German shepherds, rintinting, the rintinting, and the mangueras, the water hoses that they used on the peaceful protesters here in Alabama and Montgomery. They were crossing the bridge, or maybe there was another. A famous a university or a school where it was it used to be a whites only school, and then a group of black students were when the law changed, they were supposed to go to that school, but they wouldn't let them in, so they had to have the state national guard basically keep the racists from preventing the black students from going to that white school. There's videos of that. Those are very iconic videos. There was also the large march on Washington, D.C., where Martin Luther King gives a speech. I have a dream, the mountaintop. Let me, I have here, Iskra.
Yeah.
I'm just going to read a little excerpt from Encyclopedia Britannica on basically just the significance and the legacy of Martin Luther King, and then we can get started. We also have a special guest from Atlanta. He's getting ready. Okay. But by the way, Atlanta is where Martin Luther King is from. I mean, his house is here. You can go visit. You could before go visit his house. Now everything has COVID. The beer bug. So it's hard. But in Atlanta, there is also the Civil Rights Museum. So it's I'm in a special place for today. So here we go. In the years after his death, King remained the most widely known African American leader of his era. He was a great student of Mahatma Gandhi. That's why he was very much into non-violent protest. His stature as a major historical figure was confirmed by the successful campaign to establish a national holiday in his honor today in the United States. Let me check my audio to make sure. Yes, perfect.
He also won the Nobel Prize.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Our guest is here.
Hello, Dennis. How are you?
I'm good.
Everyone, please welcome Reflexiones de Denny, or Denny, a fellow Atlantean Cuban.
I didn't know Atlanta. Oh, that's very nice. You're nearby.
Yes.
Yeah. You gotta go visit Iskra, man. Like they have a nice pad out there.
I'm in South Carolina.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's good.
So I was just giving them like a little bit of the historical significance of Martin Luther King, and then we can get started with our contributions. To establish a national holiday in his honor in the United States, and by building a King Memorial in the Mall of Washington, D.C., near the Lincoln Memorial, the start of his famous I Have a Dream speech of 1963. Many states and municipalities have enacted King holidays themselves, and authorized public statues and paintings of him, and named streets, schools, and other entities for him. That's true. Whenever you see Martin Luther King Boulevard, you're in a black neighborhood. This is true. These efforts to honor King have focused more on his role as a civil rights advocate than on his controversial speeches during his final year, condemning American intervention in Vietnam and calling for the Poor People's Campaign. Later on, I'm going to touch on that, the Poor People's Campaign. The King Holiday campaign overcame forceful opposition, with critics citing FBI surveillance files suggesting that King was an adulterous radical influenced by communists. Although the release of these files during the 1970s under the Freedom of Information Act fueled the public debate over King's legacy, the extensive archives that now exist document King's life and thought and have informed numerous serious studies offering balanced and comprehensive perspectives. The two major books, Bearing the Cross and Parting the Waters, won Pulitzer Prizes. Wow. Subsequent books and articles reaffirmed King's historical significance while portraying him as a complex figure, flawed, fallible, and limited in his control over the mass movements with which he was associated, yet also a visionary leader who was deeply committed to achieving social justice through non-violent means. Although the idea of a King national holiday did not gain significant congressional support during the late 1970s, efforts to commemorate his life began almost immediately after his assassination. That's right, guys. He was assassinated. In 1968, Rep. John Conyers of Michigan introduced the King Holiday Bill. It started to get support, and then in the 1980s, wow, it still had not passed. In 1983, Coretta Scott King, his widow, and Stevie Wonder participated in the 20th anniversary march on Washington, which drew a bigger crowd than the original march. After the House and Senate voted overwhelmingly in favor of the King holiday by Senator Ted Kennedy, President Ronald Reagan put aside his initial doubts and signed the legislation in 1983. So they proposed the holiday in 1968, and they made it a holiday in 1983. Ronald Reagan signed it. After the House and Senate voted, and then Coretta Scott King also succeeded in gaining congressional approval to establish a King federal holiday. Hey, Yamila, what's going on? Holiday Commission to plan annual celebrations. So the government actually does annual celebrations themselves. It's not just private individuals. Beginning in January 20, 1986. And then that would encourage Americans to reflect on, his legacy. And I
mean, I think it's the first year that we don't have any parades around the country.
That's right. There would be like barbecues. I remember in Miami, there's always like in every park, there's like a Martin Luther King Day, barbecue. The communities get together.
Right. Yeah. And here in our city, we have a Martin Luther King parade, which I have marched on. He won the Nobel Prize in 1964. I just wanted to send that out there. He was all about peace and continuously against the violent the violent movements that were actually starting during his time as well, with the Malcolm X group. And so him and Malcolm X, even though they were both black Americans, they were actually had completely different point of views as to how the civil rights, people, how they should be going about changing the laws in the United States. And I think he was also against the veteran wars. He spoke against it many, many times. And I think that was actually one of his last speeches against, the war. And, by then he was not looked at very favorably in Washington, D.C., obviously, even though he became good friends with the president at the time. After he started speaking against the the Vietnam War, of course, then the administration kind of started giving him a hard time. It's a very interesting. He had a very interesting life. He was a preacher. I've actually spent all day watching documentaries about him. I wanted to be. I mean, I had known about his life, but it's always good to go back and see, and refresh everything in your mind. And it was a very interesting. Like he was a man that whenever he would speak, he had a profound movement of words, and he would just move the masses. And I think we saw that at that Lincoln Memorial when he spoke, and his famous speech about the "I Have a Dream" speech, which became obviously famous throughout the world. Yeah.
Just before Danny, before you start, I wanted to mention something that you were right, Iskra. Malcolm X said, concerning nonviolence, it is criminal to teach a man not to defend himself when he is the constant victim of brutal attacks. So
Yes.
that's that it wasn't always like the even though I think they were fighting the same kind of battle, but like Malcolm X was a little bit more tough. He was more about self-defense. Black men should have guns and should have their own economy. We don't need the white man, blah blah blah, etc. King was more, let's hold hands. We're all the same character over skin color, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So Danny, I know that you have been studying. Every day is in English, Daniel. You have been studying about Dr. King. You have been reading a book. I saw one of your videos. You were talking about that. Can you tell us a little bit more?
Yes, hey guys, how you doing? Man, the problem that I got, my English is like good. I don't know. Yeah,
man, it's okay. Good practice. I can help you if you need. If you need to say something in Spanish, then we'll translate it for you. It's okay.
You can say
hola. Hey, so yeah, I started reading about Martin Luther King like a couple of weeks ago. I'm very excited about the book. He right now I can take it from I work with American people, so every day I come to work. I spoke with them about the situation that is going on right now in America, right? So I translate the book to nowadays. So what I can see from the new generation that we have, we don't have that power that Martin Luther King has. We need people like him.
Yes.
Because we're fighting against people, but we don't fight against the system.
Right.
Everything in America right now is about the system. It's not about Democrat. It's not about Republican. It's about the system that needs to be fixed.
Absolutely.
So and a lot of people, especially black people, are going with Democrats because they supposedly help us better. They're always trying to put law. The Republicans, they don't pass the law. They're always against the law that Democrats has. But I say, okay, how long it has to take, or how long it has to be to a law to be approved? Because we have been a lot of Democrat parties over and over and over, and the same thing happened when the Republicans is on the power. So they get like, we lazy. I know that a lot of people get lazy, but we still gonna fight for our right. But say no, we need to be in the street right now because a lot of stuff need to be changed. And not because Biden win, we're gonna stop fighting, because a lot of things gonna continue to happen if we not change the system. No, we need to be on the street right now because.
Okay, so there's a. Sorry. Okay, Dennis, go ahead. Keep going.
No, I'm done for now. Let me organize more.
So no, I totally agree with you, and it's you're right. Right now, we're in a historic stage in the United States, And when I look back at today, I'm telling you, I have done my homework for today. While I was working, I was actually hearing all of these old documentaries, not just on Malcolm X, but also on I mean, not just on Martin Luther, but also on the Malcolm X movement. And I look at the violence part, and I think we have that, but we don't have, and I think you need that balance. You need somebody that's peaceful, that will fight the system, because the system is wrong. If it was up to me, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again. If it was up to me, I would just take everybody out of Washington and start from scratch. Democrats and Republicans. It's not working. We need unity. We need them to work together. Both sides. There are so many issues that both sides need to work on together. And unfortunately, what I have seen, not just in the last 4 years, to be honest, with Trump, even before that, with Obama, even before that, I mean, Obama was in the House for 8 years and he couldn't get any laws passed because the Republicans were fighting him against everything. And before that also. So if we're just paying them to fight with each other and not work for us, which is what they're supposed to be doing, then we have an issue. But yes, I totally agree. We do need a new, Martin Luther King, and I so wish that there was someone out there. Jesse Jackson did something during his days, but they're getting older, and it's a battle. It's a battle that doesn't stop. And
he was there when he got killed.
Yes, he was there.
He was there.
Yeah. And for those of you who don't know me well enough, the reason why I know so much Black history is not just because I spend all day working. Hi, Yamila.
Hey, hi.
Not because I've spent all day, listening to all this history today, but also I was born into a biracial household. My stepfather was Black. And so I didn't understand about this colors, differences until I came to the United States when I was 9 years old. Because I had the person that I loved and thought of as my hero was a Black man. So I couldn't understand why there was so much separation. But I do, and I do understand that even though there are separations, undoubtedly, I mean, we can't hide, we can't hide what's there. Some people say there is no discrimination. I disagree with that. There are people that do discriminate. Now, does everybody discriminate? No, absolutely not. But is there discrimination in the United States? Yes, there is. And I have felt it as a Hispanic woman.
It's actually discrimination all around the world.
Right.
It's totally different. Discrimination is race is different.
Absolutely. But when we compare it to, I mean, a lot of the, Riquette, you started the directa stating that in Cuba, Cuba would use these what the police was doing to the Black people here to scare people off. Now, right. I would love to know why they would use their dogs against the people and all of that. Guess what? I lived that in Cuba.
Yeah, that's the reason you're still walking in the building and the dogs still back you.
I came in 1980 through the Mariel, and they would take their dogs and they would, you know,
They instigate the thought to bark at black people.
yeah. So I lived it back in the days, and I know there is still a lot of discrimination in Cuba. There, I no doubt. I have spoken to people that the best jobs. If you go to the government, there are very little black people in government. If you go to the hotels and the tourism industry, very little black people in those jobs, which are the ones that make the most money. So yeah, there is discrimination on there, and it's just hypocrisy from where I stand. But I want to hear from everybody.
That's why we're excused. And before I did you, Amila, 3 intervention. First, Danny, you need to read more about the men. I cannot say to you, just find out about that, okay?
Yes.
Second, the more relevant thing about Martin Luther King that everybody needs to remember, it was forget about it was a man with a peace and everything, was a man that never talked, never said a word against specific people. He wanted the peace for every single man on the world. Everyone. Never. That's the reason. He was so good or so ahead, they assassinated him. They couldn't handle him. They assassinated him because that good he was. That's what everybody needs to know about that man. And for all that, you remember what you remember, and you get pieces and pieces and pieces. But that man, there was no more white men than that man. And top of that, good looking and blah, forget about it. He gave.
You know what I love about Cubans? You know what I love about us? That even though we speak in another language, we still sound like we sound in Spanish. Like we still
We're fighting,
no matter
yeah.
what language we speak, no matter who, we're talking to exactly, bro. I got you. So I'm really proud to see my Cuban people.
I'm making viral tweet about that.
This is the part where you be quiet. I'm talking. So I'm really proud to see, the regular people I see every day talking in English, trying to do, developing another language, another culture, and getting to it. About, Martin Luther King, he was the guy that wanted diversity for the whole country. He wasn't just fighting for black people. He wasn't just fighting for one entity. He was fighting for all, for all people. So, Rickhead, now I'm here in your channel, and I'm gonna start doing what you're doing, man. I'm gonna go against you, and every single thing you say, I'm gonna go against you. Because guess what?
I love you, Yamila.
I love you too. I'm still Jamil in English, Spanish, Cuban, stupid, whatever language you want to speak to. I'm in it.
Good English too.
But you,
She got it all.
look at him. He seems so quiet. So like, I'm not looking at her. I'm ignoring her. No, bro.
Yeah, on this side,
It's funny that you say that, Yamila, because normally I do see, when we do these talks, so we do Monday night at 9 o'clock in English, and so it's me and Riquetta, the co-host. And just so you know, we started this because we felt it was important for everyone to understand what's happening in our country in every language, not just
exactly. I agree.
Yeah.
Coming
Yeah,
in.
we need that.
Normally, when it's just him and I'm the one that's speaking, and he's all quiet.
Really? I can.
And I see him in other
Oh, you
channels.
saw him? Okay, that's
I
good.
see him in other channels, and he doesn't stop talking. So
you're the star. It's great. You're the star.
No, it's not just talking. Whenever he go to my channel, he's just not talking. Oh no, he. Oh well, today's Martin Luther King. I'm not gonna sing to you, but tomorrow I'm gonna let it go like Frozen. I'm gonna let it go, bro. It's all out.
I'll do a live stream on my channel, and you can jump in. I had to interview you.
No, listen, I had to send a text to him so he can send me the link because I had been on the chat. Hey, the link, where's the link? But you don't want to send it because you were so scared. But I understand. I got you. I understand. I'm still Jamil in every single language. You got me.
Another important thing for us is very hard to find this information because it's not that public. It's very particular. You have to follow Ale Hallen and a lot of black writers to follow this happen. Another important thing between Martin Luther King life, all movement, and all that thing related with us. I don't know if you guys know, But for years and years, they don't want to the American black people find out what the opportunities in life that the black people have in Cuba at the time. And even people don't relate that because they don't analyze it. The three biggest leaders of the syndicate in Cuba, three was black. Jesus Menendez, Lázaro Peña, and the poor I said.
Those were syndicates, like unions over here.
There was syndicate. It was the poor. Was included the employee in the and there was the regular employee was Lázaro Peña. Jesus Menendez, he got killed in 1948. But those movement that wasn't developed. Remember, after 1940, Cuba developed a constitution that was very, very, very flexible for everybody. It was pretty good for black people too. But they don't want that connection get to America because America was fighting for the civil rights, and they don't want that connection. At the same time, the people in power in Cuba doesn't want that connection either, but they don't want to those two black communities that they both suffer for the same thing. There was slave, there was plantation, etc., get together and get an alliation of something. It's not more danger in the world that people let a few black people get together. They're scared. They're even scared today.
Well, so I can tell you from my experience. Hold on, I'm talking. I can tell you from my experience because I live in Louisiana. I don't live in Miami, where everybody live. So I live in the South. We are nobody here. Nobody.
So exactly.
I got you.
Because
so
I didn't experience discrimination until I moved to South Carolina, because in Florida, I was just a regular Cuban, and of course, you get treated just like everybody else. But when you move to one of these states that are, most especially, the red states,
you have to bring your knowledge. You bring your knowledge. You little bit of code, a little bit of dance, and work.
Well, let me tell you my experience, because I'm not white, I'm not black, I'm in the middle. I'm like I don't even know who I am anymore.
Hey, you're welcome.
No, you're welcome, because I identify myself as black. But whenever they see me, it's like she's kind of yellow, but her hair, I'm confused. So where you from? Whenever you say I'm from Cuba, and they'll go like, oh, so you have black people there too? I'm like, really?
Yeah.
For real?
What about me, Yamila? What about me?
No, you fine.
When I talk with Americans over here, they say I'm not black. They say I'm Hispanic. That's what they say. That's crazy. That's crazy. I'm like, man, I'm like you. I just born in Cuba, but I'm like you. They say, no, you're not black. You're Hispanic. You're Cuban.
They even made racist joke in front of me because they said that I'm not black. I know how to get offended. You can't believe it.
Whenever I'm handling
all kinds.
Whenever I'm handling, a black Cuban that come into the office, I'm like, what's up, babe? And they go like, oh, you have one of those in there too? I'm like,
yeah,
for real?
Hey, one of those. That's what I told them. One of those.
Exactly. We are in 2021. We all mix. We all people. But discrimination, if you want to talk about discrimination, talk to a Cuban, because we feel all kind of discrimination. It's not just because you're black. It's not just because it's not on politics. Who you are, who you defend to, and that defines your race.
Yeah,
well, that's right. You from Havana? Are you from Matanza? Or you from
exactly?
Races can be fixed. Education, things. I believe the Cuban community have that opportunity first, because we all fighting to beat the dictators upside, but we all consider Cubans. I hope when we come back, when we beat those son of bitches, we became Cubans. I don't want to, when we come back, we became black and white again.
No, because we're going to be there.
I think so, man.
That's what I said. We had the chance. I think we had the chance. We had the chance when we come back, be no Hispanic, no Latin, with Cubans. And
with Cubans,
and live.
Oh yeah, man. That that was so confusing when I came here as a child. You had to fill out those stupid forms. And are you black? Are you Latino? Are you black Latino? Are you a black Latino thing? Blah, 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 blah.
I don't want to become
right, but then you're
I don't want to become you was my friend USA because we were the same team, but right here, like the German charter joke.
Dude, and you know what's weird now is that when you're filling out these forms, example for I'm trying to get a house, so I'm filling out like the applications, and they are you Hispanic? Yes, and then it's like, what kind of Hispanic? Cuban? We have a special category now: Puerto Rican,
Almost,
Mexican, Cuban. We're like, yes, one of the
those are discrimination behavior because
Right.
that's the way it is. You don't supposed to fill out an application to get a job, to get a loan, or to get a something and put what kind of race are you. But
yeah,
they do
man.
put had a screenshot for
They're
that.
tracking it. I don't know why. I guess
They do.
I think it's because
They want
we
to
do
make
pretty well,
sure
but
that everybody live where they're supposed to live.
ooh, you think so? I think they
They
want
don't
us,
want
man.
it. They don't want it infected. They don't want it. We got one of those over here.
I
Okay.
don't know,
So
Fulano. I think
And by the way,
I
guys,
think they like us because
by the
we.
way, is a few days ago, one day in Miami. You guys watch it already? It's Martin. I'm sorry. Is Caso Clay, Malcolm X.
Yes.
yes, I saw it today. I
Is
saw it.
that one is a history? It's actually it's an event that happened the day that he became a champion. That is not even in the book.
Right.
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 It was very
Mhm.
interesting.
I have I've been to that
Let's
hotel.
talk about
That's
it.
in North.
You need to see it, Danny. You need to get more black.
Bro,
Yeah,
you're
I,
still
I have
you
to, man. I have to.
in any
I
language.
will.
You
I
know
will,
everybody.
man.
Oh,
I'm the man. I got all of them.
you.
Voy a poner orden. Going to put some order in line here. Jose joined us and hasn't been able to say anything.
Hey, good afternoon, Jamila. Good afternoon, Fulano. Good afternoon, Iskra, Rique, or Cuban Libertarian, and Danny. Happy MLK Day. You know, MLK has a quote that I think like is perfect for us Cubans, you know, and he said, especially when we're trying to define what we want for Cuba or what we want to do, or you know, for some people who do more, for people who do less. He said to the in the civil rights movement, he said, you know, if you can't fly, you run. If you can't run, you walk. If you can't walk, you crawl. And if you can't crawl, you at least you better at least keep moving, because if
Right.
you don't move, you're stuck. And I think that's exactly what happens with any movement, whether it is in Cuba, whether it is here with racism or with any type of discrimination that's going on. It just we cannot stop to move forward and to change and to keep changing the goalposts and making it better. You know, I'm the same way as Cuban Libertarian was saying. You know, when you applying for college, when I was in college, or when you're buying a home or whatever, they always select. You know, you got to select your race, if you're black or white, when you really don't know. Like I really don't know. I mean, this hair comes from somewhere. You know?
I feel you. I know exactly what you're talking about.
So like
Yeah.
I'm like, you know, I really don't know. Like I'm really like, I mean, I don't know. Do you want me to be white? Do you want me to be black? And then like Danny was saying, then they don't want you to be part of either because you're not part, you know. So
Yeah.
it's really strange, but it's really about personality and how you carry yourself. And I think us Cubans, what we do well is about, because of our personality, about not being worried about, you know, what anyone has to say or what anyone defines as us. We kind of define ourselves, and
I'm with the guy.
that's what matters, you know.
I agree with the guy. That's what I was saying in the beginning. It doesn't matter where we are, who we're with. We're still Cubans. That's it. That's like the signature. I'm Cuban. What's up? You know, we're ready. We jump into any situation. Even when we move out of Cuba, you know, it takes like 3, 4 years for us to learn. Like, hey, this is a new country, new culture. Let me get to it.
Right.
I mean, what I have to do, what I have to learn English. Let me get into it. You know, we don't like to depend on other people. We don't like to be totally dependent on. Can
And the
can you
government.
translate? Yeah, can you translate what he's saying? You know, we
Yeah.
get into it and we give the best, and that's the amazing thing about Cubans, that we are great people. We can be excellent. We can be whatever we want, but it has to be outside our country. In our land, we nobodies. That's it. Period. Hey, say what's up, my friend? You know, here. So when you see people like Danny,
Mhm.
like Danny, it
Yeah.
really, really doesn't, impress me. Like this dude is new. He just got here. You know, he got personality. He's into it. Like, he's trying to be better, to be, at
Right.
his best. That is a way for Cubans. This is the thing to do. You can make it. If you did it, you can do it. It's amazing. Like I said, discrimination we feel all the way. It depends where you live in the country. In the
Mhm.
South, in the South, I can tell you, remember they had a civil war here. It
Mhm.
is kind of tough,
Yeah,
but we can make it too because it's up to you.
absolutely.
It's
Man,
up
Absolutely.
it's
to
like
you.
it's like you say right now, Yamila. It's like I told my friend. I got a lot of friends right here, and they say, "Man, you not change what you doing. You not change be in front of the phone and talk, and you don't know about political whatever." And I say, "Man, it's not about knowing. It's about doing. Do, man. That's it. That's all you gotta do. It. No matter. No, you don't have to compare to Otaola. You don't have to compare to the Yamila. You do you."
Right.
Do you? People gonna know you for what you do or for what you are. You don't have to be the same like nobody because nobody in life on the world is the same. Just do it. Just do some. If you wanna help and you wanna really help the country, help Cuba, do whatever. Do it.
You have to be the
Actually,
change that you
that
want to
reminds
be.
me. Give me a chance. That reminds me because I'll forget. There was another quote from Martin Luther King that says, "We don't all have to do great things, but the things we do, it has to be great. So even if you do small things, just do them well.
Mhm.
It's so we all don't have to be doing this that we're doing tonight. We all don't have to be on TV. We all don't have to be superstars. But whatever you decide to do, whatever little bit you do it
Be the
right.
best at it.
Yeah,
Be the bear.
absolutely.
Be the
Yeah.
best at it.
Sorry, I mean, I didn't want mean to interrupt you.
No,
I
that's
was
fine. That's fine.
I'm the
That's
I'm the viejita in this panel,
you
so I
are.
forget things. Of
Oh,
course,
oh,
I'll be
I'm
50
sorry,
in
my bad. I didn't
20
notice that. I didn't notice that at all. But
years.
in my experience, this year are gonna be 18 years. I'm gonna make 18 years in the States since I left Cuba. So yeah, my sales daughters in the house. I got it. I got this. You can go home. I got this. Uh, so it's been 18 years. I got here from I came straight Cuba, Louisiana.
Wow.
I had never lived in Miami. I had never been there. Actually, I don't like it there very much. But anyway, that's my opinion. And yeah, I've been here. I have been here for 18 years. I love it. I really love it because this is my home. This is my home. This is where I have where I learned everything. Here's what I became. I became a district manager. I learned other cultures. I was over 50 people, all kind of races, all kind of genders, all kind of issues. And I have learned a lot. That's why I'm good at talking in TV shows, which I have done many times on radio shows. I'm good at it because
Yeah,
you put
right.
yourself out. That's what Cubans do outside Cuba. That's the sad part. That's what made me mad. Why we cannot do all these back home? What can be who
So
you are?
that's today's topic. It's really relative to how
Race.
would Martin Luther King be, if Martin Luther King was alive today and in Cuba, how do you think? And I want to know everybody's opinion. How do you think he would? Do you think he would rise um, with today's Cuba had he been alive and in Cuba today?
Well,
Like,
he will be out in the streets
right?
protesting,
Yes.
marching
Yes.
with everybody every single day until it's over. Because that's the good thing, that I love about America. They don't give up. It's not over until it's done.
Now, do you think he would be out in the street? I think he would be in jail. I honestly, I
Well,
mean,
obviously, well, you did. The question was what he will be doing, not what they're gonna do to him. I mean, this is
Yes.
a different question.
That's
There's a
different.
difference.
so
There's a difference.
That's why I like Malcolm X. I like his style better.
well,
Well,
Um,
me too. Me too.
I think
If you hit me, I'm gonna hit you
I'm
back.
not surprised. Why am I not surprised?
Oh, I don't know. Oops, I don't know
I'm
what
from
kind of.
Santiago, bro. You know what we be starting stuff.
No, but
yeah,
no, I think you know what I think Martin Luther King will be. I think he'll be in a church, getting people out of the church into the streets. I think he will be
Facts.
trying to use the church and religion as a foundation to get people to motivate people to be free and to
Talk
ask for their
about it.
rights. And that's what I
That's
think he'll
right.
be doing.
Yeah,
and
The
that too. But he
SCLC, that
was a
was
leader.
the
He was a leader. Either, either in the church, in the street, in the bodega. Can you
Yes.
imagine him in the bodega getting his mandado for 800 pesos? He would be like, no, negative, back up. He would be putting people on the streets, and that's the kind of people we need today in Cuba.
Yeah,
Like, wow,
I'm gonna read this. Recognizing the need for a mass movement to capitalize on the successful Montgomery action, King set out about organizing the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, which gave him a base of operation throughout the South, as well as a national platform from which to speak. So he was lecturing from church to church all over the South, and he got them together, and he used that strength, Jose. You're totally right, to organize the boycotts, the protests, the sittings, and then just like get a big following and a big movement. I would like to see the Christians in Cuba, the Catholics in Cuba, the Santeros in Cuba. Coño.
hey, 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 come on,
Throw out la letra esa
del año.
comunista and get some real like letras going and get some real stuff going. Come on, guys,
I agree.
come on. ¿Estás en Yaboraje? ¿Qué? Porque te veo blanca toda.
If you say so.
I don't know. You're all,
If you say so.
your drip is super white. Like,
Whatever you say.
So guys,
for the uninitiated, a Yaboraje is like basically like a year of religious reflection and penitence for in the Santeria religion that you have to do after a certain thing. So there. But yeah, Jose, that's a good point. The role that Christianity played, religion played in his movement is big. The Black community is known for their religiousness, and it's something that back in the day, actually, it held them together. It helped them through, the tough times that they went through. And it's interesting because it's not their original religion, right? They're all coming from Africa, so whatever they learned it here. But in Cuba, we have the African religion, but we're not. I don't know.
I said that Fulano's not here. Fulano recommends a movie for Cubans. I mean, not a movie, a telenovela. I don't know how to say that in English. I guess a novel. But anyway, it explains exactly what happens in Cuba. It's called La Esclava Blanca, which is the white slave.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what happens in Cuba. I think that's exactly the Cuban a summary of a synonym of what Cuba is. And if people are able to unite, whether through church or through some type of clandestine way where they can, start getting out to the streets and do actions, I think that things would change. But until they're able, they're not able to do that, they're not going to see any movement.
I agree.
So I got a question about that, about how I start speaking. We guys always fighting with the country. We're fighting with Cuba. We're fighting in America. But what about the UN? Who fight to the UN? Who fight?
Well,
Because
I went to fight the United Nations.
So we need. Yeah, that's why I always think about. We need to create a group or organization to fight against them, because they the one who supposed to protect the human rights all over the world. So how Cuba, Venezuela, Nicaragua, they're gonna have a seat in the UN? They talk whatever they want in the UN. When the UN know that in Cuba no right is respect, how we gonna fight through that? How we gonna do it? Because I don't get it. And they fight about, and they in the UN they fight about the embargo United States have against Cuba. But okay, United States have embargo against Cuba, but in United States the human rights they good. So they have the embargo over Cuba, but Cuba have more stuff to be fixed before United States take the embargo away. So I don't get how that can go away for so long.
I agree with you. And believe me, our group has put together cases of the human rights that have been broken in Cuba, and we have sent them to the UN. with all the information, all the evidence, everything. But unfortunately, just like in our government, the United Nations has been penetrated by socialists, and we just don't have a voice. So to me, that organization is no longer an organization that actually fights for our human rights.
Yeah.
It's, we need to get rid of that and do our own organization. To be honest,
Because those people
there's
getting
also a
paid
lack
for
of
do nothing. They're
responsibility.
getting paid for do nothing, so I don't get it.
But there's
And
also
they get a lot of money.
But there's also a lack of responsibility from our part as Cubans in exile. I think there's no excuse for 10, 20,000 Cubans to all join one day and lock arms in front of the UN as a symbol. When we went to the UN, it was a great group, amazing people, but there was only 75, 100 of us. I think that the day the Cubans in exile who know freedom and who really want to fight for human rights within Cuba should, regardless of the politics, regardless of what they view the world as, regardless whether they wanted to go to Cuba or not, they should join just for human decency and lock arms in front of the UN in mass. And I think that's not impossible. I think that's very possible. It takes the inconvenience of doing it. And I think that lies in the responsibility of Cubans who are free.
That's very true, Jose. Like, I would love for the United States to defund the UN. It doesn't work for us, and we pay most of the bill. Number two, there is a lot of work and a lot of education that has been going and needs to be continued on the Cubans outside, because we come out here, but we drag some of the stuff from that terrible government. We keep it in our heads. We keep behaving similarly. We keep living, in a not moral way, immorally, without virtue. Like we lie to ourselves a lot outside. We say, "Oh, I'm helping my family, bro. Eso es una vaca." That's an excuse. I'm sorry, but it's true. Everybody knows it's true. In your heart of hearts, in the darkest night, when your head is on the pillow and you look in the mirror and you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing.
Well, on top of that, I believe we as Cuban has lost faith in that organization. They haven't represent us. They haven't represent nobody. It's just taking money, sitting there doing nothing. Because what is going on in Cuba has been going on for 62 years. No, the war is not better because them. The war is better because of all of us. They haven't done nothing to bring us together. They haven't done nothing. Whenever they see something wrong, they're just sitting there doing absolutely nothing. They don't get recognition whenever something gets better. It's people. It's people. Sometimes with some people get to some positions, they forgot where they came from. What is your purpose? Why you there? You work for the people and you are doing nothing. You're ignoring the issue, and that doesn't make it go away.
I think maybe Neil was alive back in the 1940s, so maybe he thinks like, "Oh, we don't have the Germans doing what they were doing, so the world is better." It's been more than 60 years, Neil. The UN is useless right now. Okay,
unfortunately,
the real power, the thing that keeps the world peaceful, is the Navy of the United States in the sea, stopping the pirates.
It's like I said, the UN have like 30 points, okay? It got 30 subjects, I don't know how to say. So it should be an organization from them that have to go every country and make sure that all of those points, they complete, and those people follow them. But they don't do nothing. They're just sitting in the office talking like, or no, not talking, just listen whatever the president of the country say, and they don't go there, they don't check, they don't do nothing else. So I don't know why they getting so much money and they don't help with the countries, because it's a lot of countries, not only Cuba, it's a lot of countries that the human rights
having issues. Are having issues.
Yeah, it's like not only Cuba.
You mentioned it before we started going this.
Venezuela.
Venezuela, Nicaragua. It's everywhere.
I would love. Let me just say quickly before we welcome our friend Angel, I would love for Neil to come into our chat and into our panel and give us his opinion as to why he feels the way he feels. I would love to have that conversation with you, Neil.
Yeah,
Please
come on, Neil. I promise you.
We don't bite, Neil. We don't bite.
So,
We're gonna
hello,
you,
Mr.
but we won't
Angel.
bite.
How are you tonight?
Angel, back
Good
to you.
morning. Good morning. I love seeing my Cuban people speaking some English after
What
spending
do
the
you
whole
mean,
day.
some? Come on, dude. We've been talking here for 3 hours.
I
We're not
know,
gonna
but
be able to speak all the whole
I,
English.
I know, but I was with Ultrac, expecting some message from Ultrac, but he didn't. Apparently, he forgot. You know what I'm talking about. But
Yeah.
anyways, the reason why Ricket is absolutely correct in United States, defunding the United Nations, is because when you give money to an organization which has Cuba, North Korea, and Venezuela in the Human Rights Commission, when you give money to an organization that hides a tremendous crisis in China with the coronavirus, because the World Health Organization is paid by the Chinese government, and the president or secretary of WHO is an Ethiopian who is known to be friends with Castro and Chavez. The reason why you don't fund an organization like United Nations is because they have UNESCO, which congratulates the Cuban government for its 62nd anniversary of the revolution. And so, because of all this hypocrisy, is why we should not give money to such a demagogue organization unless they rectify their ways and they be more honest and open and candid with what truly matters for the human beings around the world, regardless of what government or what propaganda that government purportedly exposes in the world. So I would love it if Mr. Neil come up and gives his point. This is a platform, I know, Ricket, where we respect everybody's opinion as long as they're funded, they're based on facts.
I respect the right to have an opinion, but I don't know about the opinion itself.
Well, we all have an opinion, and we all have a right to speak our opinion. Now, we don't all have to, be on the same side of that opinion. However, yes, absolutely, we would love to have Neil, and we would definitely welcome him. Now, I have a question. So, when we talk about, movements that are nonviolent, about in Cuba, I automatically think of San Isidro, right? I mean, that's the latest and the most, known movement that we have seen that is nonviolent within the last years. However, look at what has happened, and I do want to explain. There are a lot of American friends that are listening to us today, and they really don't have the background of what that movement is and what they have done. Riquette, if you want to give us a little briefing, I know you have all the history.
Wait, we have Neil is in the house.
Oh, great. Thank you, Mr. Neil.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
I can't see Mr. Neil.
Neil, please turn on your camera.
Salud.
Yeah.
Or not.
He pressed the wrong button.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
He's trying. He's at least trying. So congratulations.
Good. So we were talking about San Isidro and what that movement, and I believe it's that's a perfect example of, a peaceful movement, and how they did it. They didn't even go out into the streets to make a big charade. They stayed.
I can debrief you. I can brief you about San Isidro because these are Cubans news. We all know them. We don't know dates exactly or whatever, but we know who they are. San Isidro is a group of people, a group of artists, a group of A group of people that got together and say, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of all of this. So I'm going to protest. They went to a hunger strike, some of them.
The
Um,
acuartelados.
yeah, requesting a change. They request they let go, the free Dennis
Okay.
Solis, who is another guy, an artist too, a rapper, I believe it is, who's been getting crazy by the police, with all the harassment they do back in Cuba. Either you agree with me or you go to jail. So they all start protesting, requesting the freedom of this guy who is still in jail, until nowadays. He's still in jail. The government didn't agree with people protesting inside their house. They were on the street. They weren't out on any kind of business, disturbing nobody. They were into their house, inside their house. The government came, took them, separate them, bye bye, the end. That's basically what happened.
Yeah. Well, MSI or the movement San Isidro started like 2 years ago when the Cuban government tried to pass a law. Actually, they did pass a law censoring arts, the way you express your arts. You had to do it from a revolutionary or government approved um, point of view with censors approving whatever your craft was, whether painting or music, etc. So based on this, Luis Manuel Otero Alcantara started this movement
What his
to
name? Say
Luis
his name.
Luis
Say it.
Manuel Otero
Oh,
Alcantara.
there you go. There you go. Contra.
The
Come on,
mind,
dude.
the mind, Emil. Listen, no. So what happens
Hi,
is he created this
hi,
movement.
everyone.
Hi, Mr. Neo. It's okay if we cannot see you.
Hi.
We can at least hear you.
No, that's not
It's okay.
okay.
It's okay if my camera isn't working. Is it okay with
No,
just the sound?
it's not okay, Mr. Neal.
Now
I
we need to see
apologize.
your face.
But we need to know who you are.
I think that the most important thing are the ideas. You don't. Is
No,
that
no,
really
I'm
is
Can I
sorry.
important?
finish?
Oh,
Can I
okay.
finish my
Well,
Are
it's
you
your
idea?
shot.
Cuban,
It's your
Neil?
rule. So
I disagree, Mr. Neal. When we speak and we are speaking about our opinions, we need to give our faces so that people know who you are. I am sorry, but I disagree with that comment. If you are more than welcome to speak here in our panel, but everyone that comes in needs to show their face.
Mr. Neil, I spoke out of place. This is not my channel. This is Mrs. Kras and Mr. Cricket's
Oh,
channel, and
uh,
that's the rule. So we have to respect it.
Neil, but you don't have to. Okay, okay, Iskra. What if he shows his face and then he takes it away so that at least we know it's a real person?
Absolutely. I don't mind that. We just need to know
what
who
do
we're
You
talking
just
to.
can't be a black
what do you
square.
mean
We
if
need to
I
see
at
your
least you
face.
know I'm real? I can
Yes,
you hear
we
me
need to know
talking?
that
Is
you're
that
real.
what is this? A computer generated voice?
Well,
Right.
no,
Bro,
but you can be a
you're
secret
acting
agent
like an
from
agent right
Cuba.
now, bro.
Yeah, you can be anybody from the Cuban embassy in Washington
Are you a
D.C.
catfish, bro? Is that what's going on here?
No,
Are you a
no.
catfish
A
It's
right now?
not. It's
cyber, a
not like
cyber catfish.
it's
He
not
was
like in
glad
Cuba they say that. In Cuba they say that the opposition is in the paycheck of the CIA.
Uh-huh.
It's not the other way here. You see,
This guy's a
well,
total catfish, bro.
my my co-
I'm
my
getting
we're
catfish
getting
vibe.
paid money
yeah,
from
exactly.
Let me
Cuba,
see
So
so
a
my
beautiful
right.
face,
concern is
Neil, and then you
his
can put it
name is
off.
Neil and he's
Okay,
totally
so
Cuban. So I'm
He's
concerned.
Cuban. He's Cuban.
Definitely, he's
So,
definitely
so
Cuban.
I wanted to. I'm sorry.
¿Y qué
I
va a
wanted to
hacer?
make a point between by differentiating Movimiento San Isidro with the hunker downs. The hunker downs or acuartelados are the ones that started this hunger strike that Yamila was talking about. And just today, one of them sent me a beautiful video where all of them introduced themselves, and I posted it in all the pages. And what a great initiative, Ricket, to do this today, Martin Luther King Day, because what Iskra was talking about is being patently and persistently their message. It's about nonviolence. It's about um, peaceful protest. Luis Manuel Otero Alcantara and some of them are on the political spectrum to the left of where I am, but they're very clear that in a dictatorship, nobody has space, neither the left or the right. It's beyond political positions. It's a dictatorship, and it's not only artists. Remember, that's another beautiful thing about San Isidro. It's a very inclusive movement where you have someone like Michael Observer with a fourth grade of elementary education who calls himself a marginal, but yet he is welcome in the movement. You have Adrian, who is a very young, um, openly homosexual kid who refuses to go to the military service in Cuba. He is welcome in San Isidro. You have academics, academia there. You have teachers from highly respected universities in Cuba. You have photographers. You have journalists. So it's a very comprehensive movement that represents the fabric of the Cuban society. All of them with a constant message of non-violent, fight or protest against the Cuban regime, and that's why everybody fell in love with them the same way that even Caucasians back in the 50s and 60s fell in love with Martin Luther King, because it's a call of love for the rights of all human beings, regardless of race, sexual orientation, political views, religious views. It's just basic friggin' human rights that the United Nations, for example, don't care about when it comes to Cuba.
Correct.
They inspired they inspired the biggest march I've seen in my lifetime on 29 in Cuba.
Spontaneous march.
And it was they inspired around 600 artists and young people to protest in front of the institute or the Ministry of Culture in Cuba to ask for changes. So it was the first. So anyway, so they're they like I said, extremely diverse, covers all spectrums of society, and very peaceful. So
So that's why.
And it was the first time. It doesn't have to be the last one. I mean, what Joseph was saying, at least we learn how we do it, how we got to do it. You know what we have to do now, who we have to go against with, what kind of fight can we put on. That's basically what we learned with San Isidro, and we also learned that San Isidro is all of us. It's
Right.
all of us. It's every single one of us. They're not different. They're just Cuba, all together in one place, in one house. That was Cuba. Enrique, I have to go. I'll be waiting for you. Listen to me. Listen to me. I'm gonna be waiting for you in my channel. Whenever you come, be ready to fight, because I'm gonna fight. Big
Me
time.
too. I'm gonna fight. I love
That's all,
Ricket.
Jamila. Take care.
All righty. Bye bye.
Joining
You
us.
know what
You
Jan
know
is
what?
talking about.
I wanna show Neil what the UN is good for right now. One moment, please, as we do this.
I wanted to make a comment of Neil's comment. Can you put it back?
Which one? Oh, this one, the catfish?
I don't care if you call me a catfish. He
My
meant to,
self-esteem
he meant to
do not
call you a
depend on.
cyber catfish. My self-esteem does not depend on that. I agree with that, Mr. Neil. It doesn't have to. However, your self-esteem doesn't.
He was answering to a comment
Yeah,
that is up there, but it wasn't
that-
meant to him. It was meant to you, Angel.
No, it was meant to Ricket. Ricket
It was
was
for
the
you.
one who called him catfish, not me. And he's talking about his
Well,
self-esteem.
whatever. Bye. I'm leaving.
Lorenzo,
Pleasure.
Jamila, bye.
See you around.
Hope to
Apparently, that
back
self-esteem.
every Monday night at 9 o'clock.
That self-esteem is not enough to come up and show your face. That's the point.
You gotta show your face, bro.
Yeah,
bro.
You know, you gotta have coconuts, bro. Come on, show your face.
If we show our faces here, we are completely renouncing to ever going back to Cuba. You must understand that what we do.
That's the thing. I know.
Consequences for us and for our families in Cuba. So it's the
He's a
least we can
catfish
ask from
that
them.
wants to go to Cuba to eat more catfish. That's what he wants to do.
Ricky,
Let's show him. Let's show him what happens when we let Cuba in the UN. Hold on one moment. Here we go.
To the United Nations, it's my pleasure to welcome you to the UN and the ECOSOC chamber. A few weeks ago, Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel came here to the United Nations and painted a rosy picture of his country.
classy folks.
Mm-hmm.
As a paragon of solidarity, democracy, and human rights. To the more than 5,000 Cubans who were arbitrarily detained for political reasons in 2017, this is a sick joke. More and more, Cuban repression relies on raids of activists' homes and offices, short-term detentions, and public denunciations known as repudio, which I think is what we may be seeing right now. As we sit here today, can you please remove them from the room?
See, Americans, they don't know how to
I'm
deal
going
with
to
these.
pause while security removes the disruptive elements from the room.
Yeah, just like BLM, just like Antifa in the UN.
Nick, can you please ask? Cuba's political prisoners are a clear and unambiguous sign of the repressive nature of the regime. Their imprisonment represents a blatant affront to the fundamental freedoms enshrined in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. President Trump is taking action to hold the Cuban regime responsible for its human rights violations and supporting the Cuban people's aspirations to live in freedom. Today, we come to the United Nations to remind the world that today, in Cuba, there are political prisoners. They come from all over Cuba. These men, these women, activists, lawyers, workers from different faiths and different walks of life. They are united in their quest to speak out for a better, freer, and more democratic Cuba. For themselves, for their children, even for the people in this room who persist in disrupting this event.
So yeah, that's what you get in the UN.
Mr. Neal, we're not okay. We understand that saying that Cuba is a dictatorship is not big news. What we are saying is that the United Nations is not doing their jobs because the Cuban government does not go by the basic human rights of every single citizen in the world. That's what they're supposed to be defending. That is what that organization was done for. They're supposed to be defending the human rights of every single person in the world. And they are not doing their jobs. That's what we're saying here. Now, everyone knows that Cuba is a dictatorship that has been a dictatorship for over 62 years. Now, we know that's not great news. But what we're talking about here is what the UN is supposed their job and what they're not doing. And we have a new panelist joining us. Ramon, welcome. How are you?
Hey, good night. Good night. Hey, good evening, guys.
Good. How are you?
Oh, I'm okay. Doing all right. Thank you. Hey, Jose, what's wrong, my guy? What's going on? Jose, do you know who am I, right? Jose is not. Come on. Jose,
you know who you are. Every single one of us knows who you are. We've talked,
but not in English. So I don't know. I mean, my accent is very strong. And he's know how my English is. So
I love that there are more people joining us in English. I love the fact that we are getting out of our little box and trying to speak in another in the language that we came to this country. We need to learn this language, and this is one thing that I fight with people in Miami about. You need to leave Miami because if you don't, you'll never learn English.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. You never learn English down there. You don't need it. Iskra, I text you and I text Riquet also the other day through Messenger about one very important thing that I've been found here in this web page, which is ECNC, and it's for all you. Jose, maybe you're a little interested in this thing. It is International Center on Non-Violent Conflicts. This is very, very important institution. Riquet, can you look at it?
I highly
Yeah,
recommend
look it
it.
up right
I
now.
agree with him. Like he showed it to us in Uruguay live, and it's amazing. I think it's every Cuban inside of Cuba who is a dissident should get that or should visit
Exactly
that
that
site.
one. That one. Thank you, Riquet. So look at the bottom. So this is very important. There. Apply. Stop there. Stop there. Apply for. Put it down a little, Riquet, please. Down
Here
there.
or here?
There. The little thing down.
Down. You want down?
No, I mean the other way. I mean up.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
here. So apply now to ECNC 2021 participant lead online course of civil resistance. That's
Oh.
great. So, the only way we have the Cubans, I think that the only way we have exactly um, about to be free in one day in the future, maybe tomorrow, is to learn a little more or to act a little more about all this technique of civil resistance, the civil disobedience, etc., etc. I've been learning. I've been reading about civil resistance, civil disobedience for a while, and I found recently this big institution, and this is a very good course, very good to go through because it's gonna last for a little more than a month. And if you look at the program, it's very instructive program, and maybe we can sum us off. I'm just thinking it's free, and we have to have some time to go through, and it's very very instructive. And we're gonna. I mean, Cubans, we need to go there and learn more about it because this is an international institute, and there's gonna be other people around the world who certainly just know about it. But in our case, it's very very important. So I just came in to remark this important event that's gonna happen it started in the beginning of March, I believe, and yeah, it's gonna be great. So maybe you are a good English speakers guy can go in and learn a little more about it. What do you think, Riquet?
That sounds like a great idea. I'm going to check it out.
Check it out. Check it out the blogs, and
Yeah.
it's gonna. If you have a time, if somebody have
And
a time, maybe. Yeah.
the videos they post are amazing. They're very inspiring. They show other movements, civil disobedience movements around the world, very similar to Cuba, how they've achieved, getting rid of the dictatorship.
And I also put the link on the chat, so you guys can also go and check it out. So there
Yeah.
you go.
Thank
Thank
you for
you so much.
bringing that.
Yeah, I did not know about Ramon. Thank you so much for letting us know. I didn't get your text. You might be sending it. I will send you a friend request because I think there's another Iskra Perez without my second last name. So that you might be sending it there, but I'll look you up, and so we can.
Yeah, I don't know if we're friends in Facebook. I think that we're friends, but I text you through the messenger, and yeah, I put the link there to take a look. So
Yeah.
it's very good resource to learn
Okay.
about the only way we have to be free. Maybe tomorrow, maybe
I
in a little while, to resist the oppressor of the dictatorship we are suffering from all those years.
I agree.
That's
Thank
great.
you. Yeah, it's a great information. So who else wants to talk? Hello.
Donnie.
Yeah. I gotta go, guys. I gotta go. So my kids need to go to bed. But I'm gonna spoke my last talk. We have to let people know all over the world about what's going on in Cuba with the human rights, because they always talk about the other movement in Cuba. They get money from United States, but we have to let people know that from the very beginning, that anybody in Cuba, even if he don't say if even if he's not part of the organization, we spark, we get thrown out the job, and they try to make your life difficult in Cuba once you go against them, and they throw you out of the job. they make sure that your life is in the floor. So that's why people start joining those organizations so they can get support, they can get money, they can get food for their family. So that's why NEO, we need an international organization that protect those people that talk in Cuba because without protection, the Cuban government, they can do with us whatever they want, and nobody take care about what they doing. So that's why in Cuba it's so difficult to have or a second party because people are afraid what the government gonna do to them. So people all over the world need to know that every day, over and over.
Yeah, I think Denny, unfortunately, Neil knows exactly what goes on in Cuba. I believe he is part of that organization that does those things to people, unfortunately, because the more he speaks, the more I see that this is not just a regular person behind that name. So unfortunately, we just I'm not even going to pay him any attention, and I'm not going to answer any more of his questions. What he wants is actually for us to do that.
Yep.
And we're not going to give him any more. We're just going to forget that he's there.
Yeah, but it's people over watching us, so we have to let them know that what happened every time that somebody speaks in Cuba, you get thrown out your job.
Absolutely.
So that's what they do.
So that's that, and that was my point, right? So how would, if Martin Luther King was alive today and he would speak, because in many occasions he spoke against the government and here in the United States. So what would be the consequences of him doing that in Cuba?
Well, if we don't have a outside organization, it would be the same as San Isidro, as Ferrer. It would be the same as any of the other dissident, because we don't have protection in Cuba. Nobody take a look what's going on over there. If Martin Luther King today he was in Cuba, he will be dead or he will be in jail.
Absolutely.
That was my point. I believe so. Even though, I know Jose's view is great. He would be inside a church, but we've seen how they burn down churches, Jose. I mean, we've seen how they put pastors in jail. We've seen, so anyone that speaks against the regime is going to get some sort of reprimand. So that was my point. I mean, I hope one day we do get someone that can speak, within the church and can unite people just like Martin Luther King did one day. But with this regime, they don't want to lose control. The minute they see, just a group of people getting together, they're going to go after them. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Even for the civil rights, they're not allowed to. I mean, Martin Luther King was a fighter for the civil rights, not for the political rights. So in that matter is where you empower the people in the beginning to fight for the political rights. I mean, for the civil rights before the political rights.
Which I believe is what San Isidro was doing. I loved the San Isidro movement because it was a cultural movement. It was a social movement. It was not a political movement.
Exactly.
That's what I love, and that's why I think they connected with so many people.
Exactly, but look at what's the reaction to the civil rights, just fighting for the Dennis Solis in jail, incarcerated, and them. It was just a claim for them.
Right.
And what happened, for example, in Santa Clara in the middle of the year, where the people from the market start walking on the street toward the governor office. You know, if you remember, that was very important. It was not for political reason; it was for civilian reason, and that's the beginning of the people empowering. When you empower the people for the civil rights, then coming back for the political rights, because the people grow and grow and grow. What happened with the Santa Clara protest? It finished. It finished, and they made the governor come out of the office, and it was very important. It was one of the most important that it by silent. We don't know too much about that protest. However, San Isidro was a little more sounded because it was in Havana and other etc. But there were like a 500 people walking through the Santa Clara's old street. I don't know you remember that, and they were not satisfied with the governor, and they went even walked to the first secretary of the Communist Party in front of the office, and they made her to come out, make an explanation. That was amazing. That was really a great walking on the civilians' rights. It's a great example of what happened in 2020 in Cuba, and for example, the hunger walking of Moa. And there's things that we don't pay attention too much on this. There was in Moa, there in the municipality of Holguín, people walking to the popular power. How do you call that? Poder popular. Yeah, I think that you call like power. So your office, walking, asking for food, and they call this walking the walking for hunger. So those been of things. That's why this information that I just gave to you is very important to learn how to encourage people to fight for the civil rights. So Martin Luther King, today his day, and it was a great example because he made thousands of African American walking along all the country for fight for their civil rights, for the civil rights of the African American, and that's what. But they never was repression. He was killed, but was allowed to do it. Is versus repression here and the civil right here before the political rights. This is not a class, of course, Jose. This is not a class for you, my man. I can't give you a class, my man. But there is a little break, there is a little gap in the middle to make people a little more empowering on the civil rights in Cuba, because we have many thousands of necessity to fight for the civil rights. Can you imagine people fighting for the water? For the water, we have no water in Cuba. So imagine just 5,000 people fighting for the right to have a water in central Havana.
Yeah. And this is an important point to make. Thank you, Ramon, because around the world we hear how good our medical, the medicine, things are in Cuba, how we have free education, free medicine, how we this, it has become where other countries want to be like Cuba because of all this incorrect information that's out in the world, especially the European nations. I mean, let me tell you that they love the Cuban government. And you go around the world, which I have gone, and what you hear about the Cuban government is all like, wow. I mean, I say to them, have you ever been there? Have you ever lived with the people? Not go on as a tourist. Have you ever gone to live with Cuban family, to go through the struggles they go through on a daily basis, where a mother has to stay up almost till 3 o'clock in the morning sometimes because the water comes once a week, and they have to go up on top of the roof to collect water in a tank.
Mm-hmm.
I work in the as a nurse in Cuba, and in the, how you say that, in the polyclinical, how you say polyclinic in English, like
it's a clinic,
a health clinic, a care spot.
Yeah, like a clinic. So when I was working, by 9 o'clock, the water's gone. So I used to get the water out of the tank. It's, water that is in the pot. I had to take the water there to clean my whatever supplies that I need to use.
So
Every time I had to take the water for the tank, I'm like, wow. It's
That's
not
great.
because
great.
it's not like a fresh water running in
Right.
the clinic. If you don't have that in the clinic, you're done. It's no sanitation over there. You're done.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
Look,
Josie, sorry, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, look, no mistake about it. Any political or any dissident leader, dissident in Cuba, risk, it's risking their life. I mean, there's already some that has sacrificed their life, like Paya, like Zapata. It's definitely a factor, and it definitely happens. At the same time, I think that even Luis Manuel Alcantara, the leader of the San Isidro movement, says to himself, there needs to be a unity of all types of groups, whether it is the people who are feminists, the feminist movement, the people who are part of the, people who defend animals, the people, the religious leaders, all the political dissidents, they all at some point have to unify in either, it doesn't have to be through religion or the church. I think that would be a great avenue, a great area, because the government would look even worse by trying them. But that unity needs to happen. And Luisma says it. Luisma says that in order to take the next step, there's already an outcry in the community against the government, but it's recognized also that until they make that turn and they're able to put all that force, all that unity, all that all that anger in one place, they're not going to be able to achieve that goal of making changes or making people making the government shake. And that's what I was kind of meaning when I said MLK. He may be dead, or he may be, if there was an MLK in Cuba, or he may be in jail. But he also could be uniting other groups that maybe are completely opposite of him to do an action or to be together to resolve something. And I think that's what's missing. It's even is missing outside of Cuba. Imagine in Cuba, where you have spies, where you have Cubans, the government infiltrating any group, any type of dissidents. It's tough, but it needs to happen.
Guys, I have to go, and Fulano is here, so I'm
Me too.
I'm not needed anymore. So I wanted to say one last thing. Today, in the world that we live in, I think Martin Luther King's message is should be more alive than ever, especially in the African American community, when he calls for self-respect, for self-determination, for taking care of our own people. We need to take that message to heart and stop listening to paternalist messages from people who want to use you as a pawn in their political schemes. And in that sense, I think Luis Manuel Otero Alcantara and the San Isidro movement are a very, very good, vivid example of Martin Luther King's message in people who want to make a better world for all human beings, regardless of everything. Have a good night. I love this
Thank you, Angel.
video. Ricket, great initiative. Thank you, Iskra.
Thank you
for bringing some aesthetics to this lot of ugly faces.
I hope I bring more than just aesthetics.
Oh my God. You got me there. You got me so good. I see anybody who listens to you for more than 5 minutes immediately take a palpable perception of your brain. That is a given.
Thank you.
It's the seriousness in the Cuban genes that I cannot hide. Dale un beso grande a Guille. I love him. I love him very much. And you are beautiful people, all of you. And
thank you.
This is copying Ricket. Look, Ricket.
He said he got a better cigar than you.
Goodbye.
I love you guys.
Thank you.
All right, guys. I need to go too, guys.
And that you have to go. Thank you very much for joining us. It was a pleasure having you here in our show. Please come back anytime. We are here every Monday at 9 p.m. So join us whenever you have.
Yes, I will.
Time, please. And it was great talking to you today. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. See you next
Bye-bye.
Monday. I will be
Danny,
there Monday,
tell us
okay?
just like that, right?
You also have to read the book Roots.
Roots. Okay. I will, man.
Kunta Kinte. You need to. I didn't know I didn't know it was that below the tank. I need to.
Okay.
Danny, your YouTube channel name is just like that, Danny Echeverria.
Yeah.
No, it's Reflexiones de Denny.
Okay.
Denny's Reflections.
Denny Reflections singing.
Dennis is my neighbor. He's from Kohima.
Oh, really?
Yeah, from Kohima. Yeah.
He's right there. I knew.
All right, guys. Big loves, big hearts. Okay.
Thank you, Denny.
Yeah, very good topic. Very good topic. Martin Luther King is somebody that everybody should learn from. That guy. That guy was amazing. Everything he did, whatever word, like the one that Jose started his intervention about the movement, running, fly, crawling, and moving. He was so clear in his message, and it's today. Today, everybody should follow that.
Yeah, we need it today. I think we need it today more than ever. Our country is divided in two, and we need to come together. And when we look back at that era, at some point, it was Jews, it was blacks, it was whites, it was Hispanics, it was everyone that said, enough is enough. Let's come together. And we need that today. We need more unity in our nation. We really do. And I pray to God that that as we look back and reflect on his life and what he did during that time, that we can actually
he escaped high school to go straight to college.
Yeah.
By 18 years old, he was already a minister. He substituted his father. He started to spread the word. Everybody understand what he said. He went to a Boston college to get some special treatment after he was in Alabama. All the things that he passed in Montgomery, everything that he did was ahead of his time. Even that really altruism that he did to walk and receive the violence. The guy was stabbing. The guy was like, his house was bombing when he was in jail. He passed for every single thing that any man could be scared.
And I think, something to take into consideration, let's understand. Now, he was for peace. However, he was very straightforward and very tough on how he planted things. He was not, he was a tough cookie.
He got locked up for the first time.
We're going to debate.
1956 was the first time he was locked down. He was locked down like 10 times after that. And he was locked down here, locked down in Chicago, locked down in Florida, locked down. He don't care whatever he was to make his word, his things, his thinking, his thought, to moving, to translate it to people and face it. And he actually faced death. He was
not afraid of it.
He never was afraid. Never was. He actually said one of his speeches, he said, I'm like everybody else, would like to live a long time, but I'm not scared. I'm not afraid to die.
Right. Absolutely.
He was a man. He was a man for sure.
He was.
But the world wasn't ready for that.
But
we are ready.
I think we're ready now, and I think
we need to make it happen. I think actually Cuban situation have the platform that we're doing it, and we do it that way, within the way that we can eliminate the dictators, the races, and a little bit of discrimination at the same time. I think we really get in a consolidation. We really get in a consent that we all believe that is a better world out there for us and a better life for all of us. We can live in a good night. And plus, we have a beautiful island. In my opinion, Jose is there, his witness. I believe we don't even need an army. We don't even need cops. We need a cop with a little tongue, and that's it. No gun, nothing. In the island, everybody, la 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 la. That's it.
Yeah, well,
no, I'm serious. Okay, Cuba supposed to have enemy. The enemy that we have from the revolution was the one that they created for us, for the city place. Because reality, we never had enemy. They want to beat us. We send people out of Cuba to fight somewhere else. That's the reason they need army. But the Cuban never is being only the invasion. If you live in guy, I know it's sensitive because it's related with people that fought for the citizen that we fight today. But in Playa Girón, it was 1,000. I think it was 1,200 people, and 1,100 something get caught. In 72 hours.
200 versus, I don't know, 20, 30,000.
Exactly. It was not a fight. It was not a fight. And there was what it was, but it's a Cuban reality. Cuban people never was trained to be invited for nobody. That was a mentality the communist state give it to us to have the justification to have an army. But in reality, we don't need an army, especially because in an island, beautiful island, that we all like. When was the last time the Cuban people get out of there and try to do something? But they forced an argument to our people to do that in 14 years of war in Africa. And that's what the mentality they had to that. But reality, if you really think how Cuba could be, what is the progress to every Cuban people? Progress. Go to work, try to make your own business, try to be an entrepreneur, try to do progress for yourself and your family. What was the last time that we tried to be involved in any war or whatever? What was the last time you made a group of Cuban terrorists, for example, or a group of people tried to join something that is dangerous for the whole entire world? What is the last time you find a group of Cuban people? It's not even, put it away, it's not even an official organized Cuban crime. It's not. In serious. It's not a cartel, a Cuban cartel, except to the government. But it's not an official in the world. Italian coming to the United States, they made their own Cosa Nostra. Jews, Irish, all those people in some point they had a mafia somewhere. Cuba don't even have a mafia in Miami.
Well, that's not what the Cuban government says.
No, it's because they don't want competition. They don't want competition.
Let me tell you something, Fulano. Let me tell you something.
In New Jersey, we're big.
We have great experience before, way before of that. We the Cuban, we create the empire of the cigars in the United States.
Oh yeah, they do, but
in Florida.
That's not a mafia.
It was not a mafia. It was it was the big industry of the tobacco from 1868 after the first liberation war in Cuba till 1929 with the Big Depression. We create here the empire, the machine of the money makers in all Florida, one of the most prosperous in the industry. And before communism, before everything was we the Cuban, first in Key West, second one in Tampa, everybody knows Ybor City, third in Ocala, and fourth in Jacksonville. We have 4 big spots here, around almost 1,000 factories operated by Cuba, mainly by Cuba. That's amazing. We don't know too much about this history. Well, we know a little about Tampa, what happened with Tampa, Jose Marti, and all the stuff, but the rest, how this industry began after the beginning of the first independence war, 1868 was great. So we the Cubans, we are the center of the universe. And
it's individual.
When they talk about Jose Marti in Cuba when I was a kid, and they make it like, he was anti-imperialist and all that stuff. It's so sad to know that the Cubans didn't know. Here in San Agustin, right next to our 11 Jacksonville, in San Agustin, there's a statue of Jose Marti.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the first city funded in the United States.
Yep. So in Jacksonville was the factory of Gabriel Hidalgo Gato, okay? Named remember the Fernandina plant was close to Jacksonville.
Yeah, there's the Fernandina beach here.
No, Fernandina.
Yeah,
that's what I said.
Yeah, the factory is probably was on Fernandina beach here in Jacksonville.
No. In Jacksonville was many factories of tobacco and cigars, and the biggest was the Gabriel Hidalgo Gato, one of the most important factory in Jacksonville. Let me tell you, yes, we
No, no, no,
made
no.
it.
Oh, see,
We made it here. We made
the
it,
first
and
is
we create also another paraphernalia industry, which was the hotels, the bakeries, the many other things around the industry of the Havana, and that's beautiful history about the Cuban nationality. We have to learn a little more because we are very focused in what happened with the in the last 62 years, but we were a big nation before. So, and this is a big example of what we did here in the
and
States.
it was a few individual people that did that
Sorry.
too. Like the first Hispanic person in Hollywood was a Cuban guy. The richest man, the richest man, Spanish man in the United States for years was a Cuban guy. The Cuban community was very luxury to have a lot of influence. As a matter of fact, today day is the whole community in the United States, including the Russians, that have more political influence. They had 10 members between the Congress and senators.
Yeah, I'm very proud to be Cuban. I'm very proud.
But we don't take advantage of that because we need to focus. We need to direct the point because it really focuses the world. Because it's like in Cuba we protest in the wrong way, and we come to the United States protest in the wrong place too. Hey, we need to start focus. We need to focus and put direction on the subject that is Cuba more important than anything. That island belongs to us, and we can make all those beautiful things good in that island. Because that's what we have the right. That's what we can fight for our things. That's what we have our culture. That's what we have our identification. That's what we can turn around and everybody speak the same language, look like you, or say like you, or move like you. Not like try to find another language, another thing in somewhere else, something that don't belong to you.
But that's so hard to do because every time I go into one of these chats, what I hear is Cubans fighting against each other. I mean, instead of us fighting for one common thing, like you're saying, we're constantly fighting against each other about our opinions, and we're very opinionated. That I mean, we are very strong-minded people.
That is an effect. Focus.
Because we don't have a sense of compromise for the cause. We don't. We. That's why we can. That's why we lose focus real quick on other people's politics, on other people's way of being, on other people's. But we don't have a sense of compromise with changing the dictatorship for human rights in Cuba. We don't have that focus. We don't. We believe in it, and we all say we do. But as soon as we get the chance, we leave the conversation and we focus on something else. Because it's easier, it's more convenient. It's a hard conversation to focus on the right thing because that thing is hard and it means sacrifice. And a lot of us don't want to sacrifice.
Yeah, and that's one. I know. You guys know this, even actually in the history of every even revolution or movement or group or party in Cuba. When they get to a civil right, when they get to that part, they always stop because it's required. What we all talking today. What about Martin Luther King? As a matter of fact, Jose's witness because we created a document, and that document that we create, we try to embrace that. We try to tell people it's better to fight for your civil right because that's the right that you have as a human being to live, and also it's more qualified to a Pacific fight or this Pacific fighting that we try to promote, and we all agree. Like me, I don't want the war either. I want it for different reasons. I don't like heroes. People telling me that because I fall, they have more right than me. But beside that, I know that it creates violence, and violence is bad. But in the Pacific war, you have to be strong. Not because you fight pacifically and mean that you can get beat. You have to create a system that it has to be strong enough to you fight have meaning, and your fight can follow. And that's what Martin Luther King thought is today so good because he always had that mentality. He had the mentality that I'm not going to show you that I'm weak, but I'm not going to let you beat me that way. And that's the reason he took the time that he took in jail. Even when he gets stuck, it was a guy. They got caught. And they actually asked him, do you going to put charge? He said, no, I'm not putting charge. That's part of my cause. He was committed. He was all in, like he said. A compromise, a sacrifice. That's what we need. That's the reason I insist to say that we need from Cuban people is conscience. We need to start to change the language that we taught them. We can't stop. We need to stop to talk to them as a retarded people. They're not. They're human beings. when they want things.
I think they need hope more than anything. You know, I think Cubans islands have lost all hope.
Yeah.
They don't see. They don't see. Like they don't see a light at the end of that.
We're gonna show them. We need to. We that have this chance. We need to show them that. We need to show them that it has something to grab. It has something to grab. It has something to like. You know what? We're gonna beat this.
We can only do that when we come together.
Yeah, we have to. That's for sure. You're totally right.
To come together, and it's gonna be hard.
It's not easy. Nobody said it's easy, but we can get it done. We can get it done.
It's too quiet. I'm going
to have some private meeting with people and start to telling them what's up.
I guess thinking about when he goes to Jamila's show.
Yeah, but in reality, and I said it yesterday, and I know it's a very controversial thing between Cubans because people, when you mention the word leader or the word this or the word that, people automatically think it's Fidel or some dictator. It's not hard to be a dictator, but I'll tell you one thing: people don't move themselves.
Nope.
That's the way it is. They have to have some motivation, and the motivation it don't have to be one person, but it definitely has to be a project. So we need to start fighting to create a project. That project start to people believe and get the hope that you're expecting people getting, and from there start to get a form of something that people can grab.
I agree.
People can say, you know what, that's my piece of tree that I'm gonna grab it that way. I'm gonna fall off. Because when you're in a cliff, exactly. When you're in a cliff, you're gonna fall off. The first thing you're gonna see is where am I gonna go? That's the way it is. So that's the situation today. But we are in the perfect situation at the same time because they're weak. They've been losing things. They've even been losing character because they don't have anybody else to represent it the way they've been doing that for 62 years. 4 of them left. Of the one that still can say whatever. Plus his family, that they don't create nothing out of family, although whatever. But we need to count with the people that is actually there, capable to do changes or to join us in this movement or in this project that we can have changes for everybody else. And we can show you that way, it's very easy.
I agree.
It sounds difficult because they don't want to understand.
All righty. Well, it's almost 11 o'clock.
Yeah. So take a look, guys. Take a look. And why not going together to the course? Why not? Come on, Riquet. You're not look too enthusiastic. Come on, do it. Host it, please.
I wanted to show.
Go do it.
Look, I focus more on the battle outside of Cuba because I left when I was too young. I don't have a lot of connections, so I can't really, I don't even know how to speak to Cubans in Cuba.
Plus, it's also more safe.
I think. Look, the other day I found out that self-sufficiency is an insult in Cuba.
Yes.
Over here, you when you read all these self-help books and self-improvement, they tell you, oh, you gotta be self-sufficient. You gotta go out there and pull yourself by your bootstraps, and you had to have a good attitude, and how to make friends and influence people, and Napoleon Hill, and you read up.
Here you call it security.
Exactly, yeah. Be an entrepreneur. What was the other one? Oh, yeah, passive income and real estate, and and Cuba, that is like you are a bad person when you try to feed yourself. Literally,
you're the hope of Cuba. I mean, you have the real projection. Do you think that I can do something? I'm 60 years old. You are the guy. So Jose, the young people.
It's just a different mentality, my friend. I don't know.
I know. How old are you? I have kids like your age. So, but you know what? I'm preparing my children, just to go in the future. I made my oldest one, which is 35 years old. Just he turned 35. This guy is working in the communication field for 16 years or something like that. He is the guy who go to the pole and put all the wires and stuff in the communication, work with the fiber. And I made him to just promise me to go to Cuba in the future when I be on the ground, just to install internet, because he worked for all this big company. He said, you have to promise me to do that in behalf of my name, or your you love it. But he say, I promise that I do that for you. So you go to Cuba in the future when I'm not even insist. You tell, I promise to my father that I'm on the subcontractor of AT&T and put internet in the fiber optic. He's living here. He's living here and very close to my house. I mean, relative close to my house in Orlando, but he's working up there in Pennsylvania, just installing. I mean, producing all this fiber optic. And he said he's gonna do that for me. You have to do that for us too, for your father, for your. I mean, I know maybe not today, not tomorrow, but if we have a hope, are you at least me? At least me. I think my generation is not over, but maybe you can do something for your country in the future. My children are gonna do it, and they say I'm gonna put the whole fiber optic working on their AT&T subcontractor from Santa Clara to Havana, and Santa Clara to Camagüey, and the Camagüey to Las Tunas, and Las Tunas to Orguín. I do that for you. I'm gonna spend even voluntary, giving my all experience.
Shit! I was about to tell you, make sure he get paid. You say voluntary, okay?
Well, at least no, he said at least voluntary, working here, making money here, but going for the. I mean, making voluntarities for
the army is going to do the voluntary. Yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah, we need to do it.
You don't have to make an individual. You don't have to make an individual work voluntary.
Yeah, I'll go back to Cuba when they won't put me in jail and stuff. But
when the times come, I said when the times come, when the times come.
But he's right about this. The young people is the one that had to take this character. You gotta have more capacity, hard time. You actually have less like you don't even have kids yet, no?
No, he's not married.
No.
Exactly.
That's why I'm here, man.
No, I know that. But what I'm saying is,
look at Jose. Jose, how old are you, Jose?
29.
Hey, so 29. You gotta have a better position.
I do gotta say this though. And I understand Enrique in this sense. I'm willing to go help my country where I was born and do everything. At the same time, I got to see people start doing it for themselves too. Yeah. I can't impose something just because I learned freedom and I'm free and I have all the opportunities in the world here. I can't go and impose my will or my view of how freedom is. They're gonna have to ask for it too. It's it's a plus sign. It can't be a minus and a plus. No, it's like we both gotta add together. I'm willing to go and sacrifice a little bit and put my grain of salt, my grain of sand, and risk a little bit too. But you gotta do it too over there. I can't be pulling here, and then over there you're still sitting waiting for me to pull you out.
Exactly. They have to do more. We have everything here. They don't have anything there, so they have to do it. But the flame, the freedom, the knowledge, and the pushing is on you guys. You are the most indicated to do it. To go there, if you have the little opportunity to tell, okay, I did this, you can do it too. So they need also a little education in that matter.
Because I talk to young people all the time, and when I talk to young people all the time, I always talk about politics, and it's always good. But at the end, the conversation ends. It's like, I'll see you in the U.S., or I'll see you in Mexico, or I'll see you in the Dominican Republic, or I'll see you out of here, but I'm not gonna be here. I'm like, well, then why am I trying to go back and help?
Right. Well, I unfortunately have been banned from Cuba. I can no longer go back. So because the last time I went in 2018, they almost put me in jail. So that I'm done.
There are reasons. As a matter of fact, there are something.
The reason. Oh, of course, the reason are many. I've been in the opposition groups for 2.5 years now. So
these people, people in Cuba, they do. First of all, they have what they have. They had a lot of reason to fight. They had no food. They had nothing. They had to fight. They have to fight for themselves.
They have to fight, but they need someone. I agree with Ramon. They need someone from here that will go there to show them. But
No.
how?
No.
I mean, if we go from here to there, there's no way. We'll end up in jail.
I'm willing.
Oh, I'm willing to go.
I'm willing.
I'm willing to go. I'm waiting for my paper. I'll go. I like it. I like that part. Actually, I like that part better.
I did it last year, a year ago.
Nope.
It was hard. It was very tough. Hard. Let me tell you. Yeah,
it's hard.
It was.
But it's not impossible. It's not impossible.
I did it.
We have to do it more often. We have to do it more often. Look at how many people are online. Look at how many people in those places talking on things and knowledge. Supposedly brilliant, some of them, what they cannot do it, what they cannot move it, what they cannot even create it.
Exactly. They have the strength. They have the strength, and they have to be knowing that they have the strength to do it. They have the power.
And it had to be. It had to be because it had to be an influence in that. The people in Cuba now, they try to fight to beat the dictators or the government. They're vices. They've never been out of Cuba. They had other issues. They had a bunch of needies. They had an immediately necessity that is starving like crazy, and because that they don't get that compromise that Jose has been talking, and it's because you're missing that, and you think you have that hope, but reality what they need is a guy first, focus like I said, and a guy, somebody or some project that told them, hey, this is the concentration, and you focus here, you're gonna end it here, and when you end it here, you're gonna be better. But that project, that movement of pieces, it has to be distinguished present with dignity, with integrity, and also with some hope. People don't want to do it because they're all thinking in their own benefit. Yeah. Most of them, it's people outside Cuba, they have the capacity, but they're all thinking themselves too much. Or they have the damage that they believe that they cannot do nothing for somebody else because they're not going to do it. And to get that together, the only thing we have to do, getting a consent and a conscience. That is what we need to change the language. We need to change the way we talk to Cuban people. We need to start telling them that it's their right. They don't need to begging anymore for freedom. They need to ask for it, which is totally different things.
I agree.
Like that.
I agree. Well, we're gonna say our goodbyes because it's been 2 hours and
great. Thank you, Iskra. Thank you, guys. Thank you, fellow, for letting me
in. Have a great night.
Thank you very much.
All right, Iskra, thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Thank you, audience. And, see you next week.
We leave you with the hope of Martin Luther King, with the dream of Martin Luther King, and hopefully we can continue that dream in not just tomorrow's Cuba, but tomorrow's America.